Welcome to Married to History, where he loves history and I love learning and aggravating him.
Mm-hmm. Aloha, I'm Christopher. I have a fancy piece of paper on my wall that says that I know more about history than most people do.
I'm Shirley. I'm a homeschool mom that relies on good curriculum, Christopher, and Wikipedia to teach our kids history.
I know you want me to say it, but I'm not going to say it.
No, I don't want you to say it.
Oh, okay, fine.
It doesn't have to be said every time.
Doesn't it, though?
It actually doesn't.
It feels each time like I haven't said it.
No, last time I cut it out. I edited it out.
Perhaps that's one of my great weaknesses. I talk about history so often because I feel like I know I haven't said it before, that that nobody was listening the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious. Hey, honey, I have a history question for you.
I love history questions.
This is another installment of Who's That Dude? And why do you like him so much?
Okay.
All right, who's this guy?
Okay, that is, to the best of my memory, either Socrates or Plato or Aristotle.
You don't even know?
Forgive me, of the many, many paintings I've seen of old men with long beards and bald heads, no, I'm not sure which one that is.
Okay, so this is Plato.
And you're just assuming paintings. There's been statues, there have been busts.
Yeah. No, this is Plato, and
okay.
Not you, I'm talking to listeners now. Everyone needs to go to our social media. I know that I'm really bad. My goal was to post every episode something on social media. Haven't been doing that, but I will post this photo. It's a portion of a painting of Plato, and this is the one you put on your poster of like your most favorite historical figures. It's actually Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, that's a picture of Leonardo da Vinci. Really?
It is. Now
the outfit is completely wrong for the time.
No, exactly. It's Leonardo da Vinci as Plato.
Oh, that's what the artist went with? Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe I'll look it up while you're babbling. But there's
babbling?
I can't remember the story behind the entire painting. It's quite large, and it shows many Greek philosophers, or I don't know if they're all Greek, but important philosophers. And the artist used fellow artists as the stand-ins. So this is Da Vinci as Plato. I think that's really clever because it totally looks like Da Vinci.
Understandable.
Yeah. All right. So tell us about Plato. Is it Plato or Play-Doh? Like, was he an inventor of Play-Doh?
You just had to go there, didn't you?
I did. I saw an opportunity. I had to do it before you started talking.
Plato with a T. It's spelled that way, not with a D to imply that it is dough that one plays with.
But I definitely pronounce it Play-Doh. And I think most Americans do.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, tell me about him.
That's one of those common sounds, or I don't know
Yeah.
if those are the linguistic tricks that we do.
T's become D's. It's fine. Everyone knows who we're talking about.
Yeah. All right, so Plato is one of arguably the three greatest Greek philosophers, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Socrates taught Plato, or rather... You know what? Actually, I have to take it back. I am not positive whether or not Socrates taught Plato. I'm pretty sure he did, but I don't remember reading anything specific that said that Socrates tutored Plato versus Plato learned from Socrates.
Direct mentor.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Okay.
However, Aristotle did learn from Plato, or rather did have tutelage from Plato. So I know that one's connected.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that they were probably all three connected, but I'm not positive off the top of my head. But anyway, of the three, Plato is probably the one that I like least, in that I disagree with, not a lot of what he says, but I disagree with some of his conclusions. And it could just be that he's the one that I disagree with most, that I misunderstand most, and that might be why I disagree with him. And these aren't hardcore things. Like, for example, I love Plato's Republic. I love the allegory of the cave. So there are things I like about him. But some of the conclusions that he drew into what make a proper republic, I'm critical of those. Some of the very things that I was critical of are some of the things that people like to point out are bad about fascism. Because when Mussolini invented fascism, he was basing it off of his interpretation of Plato's Republic.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
No way.
Mussolini said it over and over again that was his inspiration. That was his take on the type of republic that Plato
Wow.
was talking about. A couple of things in there:
Uh-huh.
separation of classes, a warrior class being the elite version.
Wait, Plato said that?
Plato wanted art. Trying to remember what the wording he uses. Artistic warriors should be the bosses, people that know how
What?
to fight but also appreciate the arts. If I'm remembering correctly, I think
Okay.
specifically, I think more than anything else, he was talking about music. They need to be able to know and appreciate music.
They need to fight and sing.
Yes,
Do they sing while they
warrior
fight?
artisans is basically what he thought should be the elite.
That is okay. I'm gonna get caught up on this because it's such a foreign concept. Okay,
And again,
continue.
like
That's fine. That's fine.
perhaps this is one of the reasons why I don't like him more than the other two. Is that he's the one that
Uh-huh.
perhaps I understand incorrectly and thus
Uh-huh.
contributing to my liking the least. But anyway, I do.
Okay.
One of the reasons I do like him that he is on that board is specifically because of the allegory of the cave. I love the allegory of the cave. Whenever I get the opportunity and when I'm teaching my students about it,
Mm-hmm.
I like to just, I like to teach them about the allegory of the cave and then help them to understand the different levels of it and what Plato was trying to describe.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those who are not familiar, and you can type in allegory of the cave, and I guarantee you there are a million drawings, memes, pictures, maybe
Mm-hmm.
even YouTube videos and whatnot that I'm sure people have done. I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of these things that are very, very good. I seem to recall seeing one where they where they drew a Star Trek version of it, which was kind of awkward because I mean, why they would have been in a cave. Anyway, I digress. So
Huh.
anyway, for those of you who cannot or do not wish to get to take a look at this picture or to read Plato's Republic,
Well, maybe if they're lucky, I will make 2 social media posts this week. One with the painting and one with memes of the cave.
okay.
People
So
will have to find out.
going back to what I was about to say,
Go
for those
ahead.
who are not interested in doing that part and want me to just give them the what's important, let me take a step back. Socrates once said that he was the smartest person alive because he was the only one who realized how little he knew.
That's so
Everybody else
dumb.
thinks that they know everything, but Socrates
Yeah.
said, like, no, I know I don't know everything.
I'm
And
also the
he,
most humble because I say I'm humble. Like, I don't know. It sounds dumb.
okay, well, so the idea of him saying that he was the smartest person, yes,
Uh-huh.
that sounds dumb, but it
Mm-hmm.
is a good thing to know, to recognize that one does not know everything. That is a good thing.
No, I
And I would dare say
agree.
that that makes him on the right track and that, yeah, he was probably smarter than a lot of
Yeah.
other people just because he recognized he didn't know everything. And when he
Yeah.
didn't know something, he asked questions. Believe it or not, you know that saying, curiosity killed the
Mm-hmm.
cat? I don't know if it's based on him, but that's
Mm-hmm.
essentially what happened. He always wanted to understand things. Even if he like knew the answer himself, he would still always ask people why because he wanted to understand what is their motivation. Do they even understand why they are doing something, why they believe something? Whatever the case might be, and he just
Yeah.
he basically annoyed people to death with all these questions. And they decided they labeled him a public menace, and they eventually executed him. So didn't execute him. I believe he was forced to commit suicide. He was forced to drink
Drink
arsenic or
poison or
something like
something?
yeah.
I know about that.
I'm forgetting what the exact detail it was, but anyway,
Yeah.
it was curiosity, his own curiosity,
Yeah.
and trying to instill that curiosity in others that got him killed ultimately.
I was going to say that's like a toddler, but we don't necessarily execute toddlers for asking
So,
why all the time.
yeah, also, I bring that up because Plato is, the allegory of the cave is kind of a play off of that. This is, in my understanding, or my belief rather, is Plato's way of trying to communicate to people or to demonstrate to people what Socrates was trying to say, or rather, the belief that Socrates held.
Mm-hmm.
So, the allegory of the cave is basically goes like this. Let us imagine that there is a person who is chained up in a cave and he's
Mm-hmm.
forced to look at the cave because he's leaning up against a wall. There's a wall
Yeah.
behind him. So, all he can see is the cave wall in front of him.
Right.
That to him is the world because he's never been out of there. He's never going to be out of there. He has lived his entire life in that cave,
Right.
chained so that he can't get out. The chains might have not been part of it, but he's in the cave,
Something prevents him from
and the
leaving
only
or
thing that
turning
he
around.
can see is that wall.
Uh-huh.
Now, suppose that somebody puts a torch or a light on the far side of the wall, and they have people holding tools or whatnot just walking back and forth in front of the fire.
Behind the person in the cave.
Yes, behind the wall, but in
Mm-hmm.
front of the fire. So now this means that they're going to be casting shadows on the cave
Mm-hmm.
wall. So now this is going to alter that person's understanding of what the world is. He's not just going to
Right.
see a wall and assume that's the world. Oh, he's going to see these shadows moving. And that is going to be his world. That, okay, everything that exists is these things moving around on the wall of this cave.
Right.
But then you take that person and you allow him to go, either you tear down the wall or you allow him to go onto the opposite side of the wall so that he
Mm-hmm.
can see that, oh, there's actually this light, this
Mm-hmm.
fire thing, and there are all these people and all these things that they're holding and
Mm-hmm.
they're wearing and whatnot. That is going to blow his mind because until you allow him to do that, the world was what he knew. The world
Right.
was shadows on a cave wall. Then, to make it even more profound, then take that person who now you've allowed to turn around, see the fire, see the other people in the cave. Now let him go outside and see the world, the grass, the
Mm-hmm.
trees, the stars in the sky.
Right.
So
Mind blown.
the allegory of the cave I like is because it's one of those things that it's an address trying to help us to realize how little we know. Plato's idea is that most of us, perhaps even all of us, I dare say, are at least at some point in our life, if not still, that person still inside the cave, just looking at those reflections on the wall. We
Right.
are unwilling, perhaps it's because we were frightened, or perhaps because we just don't want to believe that
Mm-hmm.
we can learn more, rather that the world is more than what we are currently observing or what we currently understand of it.
Right.
Prejudices that people have from time to time, or stereotypes. There we go. That's an example of the problem of this kind of thinking. So many of us have these ideas of stereotypes or
Mm-hmm.
prejudices or whatnot that are just in our brains.
Right.
That's the reflection on the wall. That is the
That's all
world,
we
and we know
know.
it is, and we are unwilling or we are unable or whatever the case might be
Mm-hmm.
to accept that. No, maybe that is wrong.
Right.
One of the great dangers of that, and I dare say the biggest problem that most people have with that, is that too many people don't want to accept the fact that they were wrong or that they had wrong or erroneous beliefs. They don't want to accept that, oh, that means that every decision, every action I've ever done
Mm-hmm.
based off of those cave reflections
Yeah.
was wrong. And despite the
That's
fact that
tough.
everybody makes mistakes, and a fair
Yeah.
number of, or more than a decent number of people probably make those same kind of mistakes based off of those reflections off the wall, they can't bring themselves to admit it, and they can't let the rest of the world know that they were so fooled.
Right.
Then the classic sign of competition, we all want to be the best. We all have a hard time admitting our imperfections, and
Mm-hmm.
some of us fight literally to the death to protect the secrets of our imperfections,
Right.
our imperfect knowledge.
Well, pride is a powerful drug.
It is indeed. So we've had a fair number of friends. I think we've probably talked about over the last couple of years that we've lost contact with
Yeah.
or have had a falling out. And on more than a couple of occasions, I firmly believe from these friends it's because I did not go up to them and point blank tell them you are wrong,
Mm-hmm.
because I recognize that I might be wrong. I know that I don't have a
Yeah.
perfect knowledge of things also, but it was obvious beyond measure that they were not willing to accept that they were seeing anything other
Mm-hmm.
than cave reflections, and it was very sad.
Yeah.
Some people are just they're going to anchor, and again, you can kind of understand that. How scary must it be for that person who
Mm-hmm.
the whole world is their cave reflections, and now all of a sudden, like especially if you skip a step and just take them straight from that to the outside, that's got to be
Yeah.
scary.
That would be. Yeah, I could see that.
So that's in a nutshell. That's the allegory of the cave, and I love it. I think it's a great story. It's a great study. It's a great
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? Concept, a great way of understanding this thing that continues to this
Mm-hmm.
day to be arguably
Yeah,
one
it's
of the greatest
relevant.
handicaps of mankind.
Yeah, it's
I
totally
apologize,
relevant.
humankind.
Yeah. Yes. So if someone wanted to read the allegory of the cave as Plato wrote it, is that in his book, The
That's in the
Republic?
Republic.
It is. Okay.
I want to say it's Treaty 6. I don't know. It's been an awfully long time since I read the book.
It's not a very big book,
No,
right?
it's broken up. I want to say it's broken up into 8 sections. Again, it's been a long time, so I don't remember. And I want to say that
Mhm.
the cave is in section 6. but I could be wrong. Get
Mm-hmm.
Plato's Republic, plentifully available at any school or library,
Right.
and that's actually a fairly small book, especially if you don't get a version where whoever was translating it decided to add pages and pages of their own commentary into it.
Yeah, don't you love that? It's a small book, but it's
I
like
don't
5 times
actually.
bigger because of the
I
commentary.
want to read the original. If I want to read somebody else's take on it, then I'll buy the secondary source. Usually
Yeah.
when I get books, I want the primary source.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Okay, so I looked up the painting.
Hmm.
It's called The School of Athens by Raphael, and it's a huge fresco, not a painting.
Yeah.
I was wrong. And yeah, it has a ton
Well, no, the
of
second
Greek
that you mentioned that it
philosophers.
was, or that the artist used Leonardo da Vinci, I
Yeah.
thought to myself, okay, well then that means that that's a small piece of what's probably
Oh
something much
yeah.
larger.
Yeah, the Plato part is, I mean, he's Plato and I think Socrates are like the central figures of
Hmm.
the paint of the fresco, but it's huge.
Hmm.
And apparently we don't know exactly who all for sure is represented. We make assumptions based on, things that they're pictured with, holding a book or whatever. But it sounds like from my quick skimming that Raphael didn't leave a key. This dude over here represents Herodotus. This dude represents so so I guess we're not sure, which is kind of
How
fun.
many artists do that? Granted,
Well,
my exposure to art, especially modern art, is fairly limited. The idea that you can paint a red dot and it's worth millions of dollars, or slap a banana with some duct tape on a canvas and that's art, it boggles my mind.
yeah, I'll never
But
understand.
I would imagine that most artists would want people to look at it and
Mhm.
understand, not stand there by their work and explain their art to other people. I could be wrong.
Right.
I'm not an artist, so I don't
I
know.
know, but you make a caption. You don't have to explain the whole thing, but like just a caption. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
It's
I'll have to
fine.
take your word for it.
It's fine.
I think the last art I did was probably in fifth grade. Involved crayons.
I'm sure your mom gave that to me at some point and I threw it away. Your mom
Ouch.
saved all of that. With your permission, I'm sure. Oh my gosh. But yes, Da Vinci and Michelangelo and a bunch of other people were in there too.
Cool.
Renaissance man. Wild. Now, why would Raphael, this is a fun question that I know the answer to. Why would Raphael make this giant portrait of philosophers from Greece, including Plato?
I would have to be honest. I do not understand what has inspired most art.
No, but what you told me about the Renaissance, I mean, this is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
you
okay,
know this.
if we're thinking about the Renaissance period, so the Renaissance was a time in which the rest of Europe started in Italy and then spread out
Mhm.
from there. Was starting to, the classic way of thinking about it is to abandon its Middle Ages ways
Mhm.
and go back to a purer, better, more civilized time of the Roman Empire,
Right.
or the Greco-Roman culture. So yes, this meant bringing back, and especially in the arts, anything that could be an homage to the ancient Greeks or the ancient Romans.
Cool.
Yeah,
That was the Renaissance, huh?
in a nutshell, yes. In a very simple form, yes. The Renaissance was basically the population of Europe saying that, all right, so we got rid of the Roman Empire almost 1,000 years ago,
Uh-huh.
but hey, it's cool again,
Yeah.
so let's start bringing it back.
Is it fair to say we've been obsessed with Greco-Roman
Think about it
things
like
since
if
then?
bell-bottom jeans suddenly made a comeback. I mean, things like
Yeah.
this happen all the time.
Oh
where
yeah, it goes in phases.
Usually for this day, it tends to be like, I think, on a decade-by-decade basis.
Mhm.
But okay, in the case of the Renaissance, it was a couple of centuries basis.
Yeah. Anything else about Plato that we need to know?
That needs to be known, not too much. One of my professors once told me that Aristotle was a letdown because
What?
and this again might go to my personal understanding of why
Okay.
I like Socrates and I like Aristotle, but I'm not all that cool with Plato.
You
Is
keep
Plato-
saying that, but Plato's the one on your poster. Just-
Aristotle and Socrates are on my poster too, aren't they?
I'll check. Continue.
Eh. Where was I going with this? Oh, okay. So Plato was a philosopher. He was a
Right.
learned, educated man, but he was also a philosopher. Aristotle broke away from that. Aristotle was not so. I'm not saying that he wasn't a philosopher at all, but Aristotle was much more into what I would say the hard sciences, the actually observable rather than
Yeah.
the philosopher. So one of my professors once said that he thought that Plato, when it came to Aristotle, Aristotle was probably kind of a disappointment to him because Plato wanted him to like be thinking on this higher level, and
Right.
Aristotle's kind of going on this not quite so high level.
Mm-hmm.
That said, though, there's a reason why Aristotle gets a heck of a lot more credit in publication than Plato does.
Does he?
Oh yeah,
I
oh
don't
yeah, because
know.
Aristotle did lots of things. So
He built a laser. I know that. He like destroyed an entire fleet of ships with a big old laser or something.
Okay, first off, no, that was not Aristotle. That was
Wait, who was it?
oh man, what was that guy's name?
Oh
Not
no, I know his
Galileo.
name.
What was his name?
Archimedes.
Archimedes. Thank you. Yes, that was
Oh.
Archimedes.
Confession time.
You're thinking of Archimedes' death ray during the first. I think it was the first Punic War.
I don't know, but I was
No, it might
also
have been
thinking
something
of in the bathtub with the crown. Eureka. That was Archimedes too, wasn't it?
Yes, that was
Oh,
Archimedes
dang it!
also.
Dang it! Okay, I'm
So,
listening.
but yes, Aristotle did experiment. So, to the best of my knowledge, Aristotle did not experiment with lasers, but he did experiment with optics, amongst other things.
Mhm.
And he did experiments on all kinds of things with physics, not electronics that I'm aware of, but magnets. And
Yeah.
I can't go down the list. Lots of things. So many of the sciences that we still learn about today that are essential functions of our life today, the foundations were started by him, or at least we still
Wow.
refer to him in our foundations.
That's
I remember,
impressive.
so I've never been overly fond of science. That changed once I started to become a teacher, and I had to start teaching science instead of just history, and I thought it was cool.
Wah wah.
But when I was in college, I actually found a way to get myself to be a little bit better in science, or at least be a little bit more interested in science. So I was taking a class, I think it was a general science class, but this got me interested in physics because one of the first things that we talked about when we were going into physics
Right.
was Aristotle and some of his earliest theories on motion.
Right.
And I loved it because I'm like, I know these answers. Not because I know the science, but because I know Aristotle. And I know that these were his theories.
Right.
And something about that was just enough to get me interested
Yeah.
to the point where it's like, okay, now I like physics. I'm not going to say that I'm a very good physicist or whatnot. I know there's
No.
plenty of gaps I have in my knowledge, but I like physics
Because you can relate it to history.
because I can relate it to history, because I can relate it to Aristotle, because I remember his early ideas. And this
That's awesome.
and this would be another reason why I kind of like Aristotle. I know we're not talking about Plato anymore, but this would
No,
be
that's
another-
fine because Aristotle and Socrates are not on your poster, so we're not going to
that's
talk about them
correct.
in this context.
Okay, so they're not on my poster not because I didn't want them there. They're not on my poster because nobody signed them.
No, I got signatures on every single
Oh, you
photo.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't know why they didn't make the list. at
I
the
don't
time.
know. I asked you for a list of important people and they weren't on the list.
Okay, I do not know why that happened. But anyway, going back to
Go ahead.
some of the things I love about Aristotle. So there's often been that argument that, oh, science and religion can't mix. I think it's a ridiculous argument, absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
Some people recognize that it's ridiculous, but there seem to be a lot of people, or at least loud enough voices amongst some people that say, oh, no, they're not supposed to mix.
Well, yeah.
Something about the science proves that God doesn't exist, and I think that's ridiculous.
Except
I mean,
it's not true.
Well, I'm not going to say that they're wrong because again, I'm not.
I
like
will.
that. I'm perfectly willing to accept the idea, even though I don't believe it, that I could be wrong.
Yes.
But it seems to me that everything that somebody has ever given to me to say that, oh, this proves science and not God, has always been a case of, but you didn't prove that that's not God. All you proved was that God is smarter than you thought he was 5 minutes ago. So
Right.
Aristotle, one of his first theories was so he came up with the theory that which is true in physics, that an object at rest stays in rest, an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by a
That's Newton.
What?
That's Newton.
Sorry, I'm quoting Newton, but Aristotle was the one that came up with those ideas that
Oh,
everything's
really?
natural state is at rest and something has to happen to it in order for motion to come
Newton
through.
stole it.
Newton did not steal it.
Like
Newton
Edison.
expounded upon it. And Aristotle,
Thieves.
so Aristotle recognizing that, all right, everything's natural state is to be at rest.
Okay.
And because things are moving, like in his day, he thought the sun and the moon revolved around the earth,
Right.
or at least the moon. I don't know if he had theories about the sun. His idea was that, okay, well, something has to have started that motion. There must have been, at some point in the past, an initial motion, an
Right.
initial thing that happened.
Yeah.
So something I think a modern day version of that is the idea of the Big Bang. But then there's also the idea
Why? Why the Big Bang? What started
Because that
it?
would have been
No,
the
no, that's
initial
what I'm
thing.
saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
but yes, then there's also the thing of, okay, well, what
Yeah.
caused the Big
Yeah.
Bang? Or if it wasn't a Big Bang, okay, it's easy to believe that some sort of deity, some sort of celestial being, or all
Uh-huh.
powerful, all knowing, or smarter than us, more powerful than us
Yeah.
being started
It's
the motions.
possible. Yeah. So Aristotle is cool with that.
So yeah, Aristotle is absolutely cool with that.
Interesting.
And then Aristotle is also cool because dude taught Alexander.
He did.
Oh yeah, Philip II, Alexander's father,
Yeah.
hired Aristotle. Or okay, this is I've heard two different versions of this,
Okay.
and I don't remember which one might be the correct one. One version is that Aristotle was hired to be Alexander's private tutor. The other
Nice.
was that Alexander was sent to an academy that Aristotle had for lots of rich, wealthy boys.
Right.
I don't know which one of the two is true, and perhaps neither of them is true, or perhaps both are true to a degree. But yes, Alexander received some of his education from Aristotle.
Maybe he attended one lecture and then was able to brag about it and make it part of his story from then on.
To believe that it was longer than
Oh,
that.
okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
See, I love it when you bring up things like that because it's hard for me to think of these characters in context of other historical characters. So yeah, I have no idea what time frame Aristotle was around and what time frame Alexander was around. So it's cool that they overlapped. That helps. That's really neat.
Yeah. It is cool. History is cool.
It can be.
I remember that time you told me that you had no idea that that World War II lasted as long as it did.
No, it wasn't World War II that I was caught up on. It was how many days between Pearl Harbor and the bombing of Japan.
And that's World War II, or at least America's involvement in World War II.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Pearl Harbor to the atomic bombing.
Yeah.
Like, didn't you think you said that it
Like
was
the next day.
Oh, even that close?
I
Okay.
thought for sure it was within the week. We had planes going to Japan, dropping Fat Man and Little Boy, or whatever they were called.
Yeah.
I thought it was within the week. It was like months, wasn't it? How long was it?
Years.
Oh my God, it was years.
December
It was
7th,
years.
1941 is when Pearl Harbor is attacked. August 9th and 12th, I want to say, of
Yeah.
1945 is when the bombs are dropped.
That's insanity.
So yeah, that's a little over three, no, not 3 whole years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a little over 3 whole years.
Life moves so fast. Why do things move so slow in history? I don't know.
Well, to be fair, when you say life moves fast, you're not even 40 yet, whereas history, we have 8,000 years, and that's just what's been recorded so far.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. This is why I don't like studying history, because it just blows my mind and I can't comprehend that much time.
I get that. That's what I
And
think of
things
that's what I think of when I'm trying to learn something about biology. It's all this information. It's too much to comprehend, I think. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Today,
I don't know what zygotes are and mycelium or I don't know. I don't even know what these words. I might be. I think that last word I said was from Star Trek.
No, mycelium. That's has to do with fungus, mold, something.
It does?
I don't
Okay.
know.
I still probably got off Star
Sounds
Trek.
familiar. Cortis is studying kidneys right now. We have this dissection kit.
The beans or the pies?
The
Or the pools?
body part. The body part.
But see,
Organ.
I got to play that little trick on you.
I'm so proud of you.
So I have to admit, it's a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
So much fun. So, anyways, he's learning about one organ at a time, and there's all these activities and reading and matching games, and then he gets to dissect one. Well, he hates dissecting, so I dissect and he tells me what to do. Anyways,
He's going to make a terrible surgeon.
he does not want to be a surgeon
He says that
at
now.
all. No, he is not going to be a surgeon. He wants to be a family practice doctor. I think I'm going to start pointing him towards like radiology or something. I don't know if he can handle being a doctor.
To give him superpowers?
Yes, that's exactly my plan. Anyways, kidneys. So he has this matching game of the internal parts of a kidney. I had no idea there were so many parts to a kidney. Like, there's a renal pyramid in there. There's like a medulla. I don't know what this is, but he knows it all.
Tiny Egyptian empire in there?
Yes. It's crazy. I mean, and
Is it
yeah.
like an actual pyramid? Like the sizes and the shapes are all right?
No, no, it's just that's what they call like one of the portions of the kidney. I don't know. Cut a kidney in half and it's all weird in there.
Now you're grossing me out.
I
It's a
know.
family-friendly show. Let's not talk about cutting things
I
apart.
know. And again, you don't do biology. Not for you.
Yeah.
Not for you.
But I know I've got kidneys. I know they do something and that they're
Mhm.
probably going to betray me at some point later in my lifetime. But yeah.
Probably.
Oh, and there is my favorite joke.
What?
Whenever the kids want me to do something that I don't want to do, what do I say? Whenever anybody asks me to do something that I don't want to do, what do I say?
I don't know.
Say I'd rather donate a kidney.
Oh, you do say that a lot. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to donate a kidney. No thanks. Did you know that if you get a kidney transplant, they leave your bad kidney in? Then you have 3 kidneys. 2 working ones and 1 bad one. Or 1 working and 2 bad.
I would assume they'd take the bad one out.
No, they just leave it. It's just hanging out there, doing nothing.
That seems rather awkward.
Well,
and
it's
uncomfortable. Does your body not feel different now that you got this other thing in there?
Kidneys are small. I guess they don't take up much space. I don't know. I guess it's just easier to leave it. I guess if you cut it and take it out, like you're introducing risk.
I'm really creeped out.
Isn't it weird? There's people walking around with 3 kidneys.
Okay, stop telling me stuff like that. I'm going to need to go to bed at some point during the day.
Could Aristotle have predicted that?
I don't remember how much we knew about anatomy in Aristotle's time.
Not much. Not much. All right. If you don't have anything more to say about Plato, Aristotle, or Socrates, I guess we're done.
They're cool guys to read about. I highly suggest reading them. And again, Plato's Republic is a good read, so by all means read that. And yes, try, please. I beg of you on all things that are of great importance and significance. Learn from the allegory of the cave. Accept the fact that everything that you know might just be your perception of reflections on a wall. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying be open to the possibility that there is perhaps far, far, far more to whatever conclusions you may have already drawn about things.
That's offensive. How dare you? I'm right. So why are you trying to spread your propaganda and convince me otherwise? I don't appreciate it.
An open mind is a key to education. A closed mind is an enemy to education.
That sounds like nonsense.
Where would we be as a people, as a society, honey, if there were still people running around chopping heads off if you dared to say that the sun didn't revolve around the earth?
I don't know, because our country didn't do that.
I doubt we would have landed on the moon. I doubt we would have satellites in orbit.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't happen.
We'd probably all still have doctors running around telling people to drink their urine.
Yeah, that was very popular for a long time. In many cultures.
Good thing some people were willing to believe that. That might not be right.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Well, we're done. Thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, then please subscribe, tell your friends, and leave us a 5-star review.
If you'd like to hear a future episode with more information about today's topic, contact us on Gmail, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok at Married to History Pod.
Also, please contact us if you have a silly question idea or if there's something from history that you would love to learn about.
Just be sure to specify in your message if it's silly or serious, because we don't want to treat a genuine quest for knowledge like a joke.
Talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're working.
I'm working. What do you do all day?
Today I was working on getting all of our home videos like uploaded and organized.
We have home videos?
Yeah, I've been recording like snippets of the kids since they were little.
Oh, okay.
Like Kung Fu Piggy.
Kung Fu Piggy was a good one. That was a great moment.
One of the best.
I love looking at their smiles, hearing that laugh.
Today,
I miss those.
Today I found a video that you had taken on your phone. I think you probably took the kids to the mall while I had like a girls' night or something. And it was a video of you on the carousel with Cortis. And it was so cute. He was so little. And he did that kid stutter thing when they're like, Like, they know what they're gonna say, but like the words don't come out.
You're gonna have to show me this video.
It was very, very cute. Anyways, here we go.